Alright, I am Justin G. Page, and I am going to try to read all of my poem Snowbound today. And I'm going to have to read this as fast as possible, because every other time I've tried to read it, I have not been able to get through the whole thing in its entirety, because this camera only allows me to do 29 minutes at a time. So, I'll start off immediately with part 1. Part 1. A heart in a box, de-oppressed in an illusion, or vacated through the mystery of the wonder of if it was ever meant to be. Alone and alive, on top to survive, a mistake of judgment through the clouds of dust in an insatiable storm. Overwhelmed by the notions of thinking too little and acting too much, while despising the choices and scattering of consequences, and understanding the burden of thinking too much and acting too little. Knowing but not comprehending, then digesting that neither line of the lot makes a madman's bit of sense. It's easy yet impossibly hard to hit forthright intrusions encircling in the mist. It's not that I could tell or even cared to try to change. But better luck next time just isn't the lie I'd hang. Or work or fight or throw under the bus. Take it and break it, smash it and fix it, ignite, multiply, ignore how she tricks it. Part 2, Seneca Falls, New York. Wander and wait, wonder and crack, or bend and snap, and ask to walk, wander and wait alone, or with company, the kind that keeps and owns, but releases then decides while flowing, moving, swaying, controlled, drowning beyond the sails of what's wasted, or growing, or controlled beyond speed left alone, to flourish and fight and find out what is right, or delve under or switch back, or ride on or pressure the weight of a lie. Anxious, awake, alive, lost sideways up the river of life, across the path, into the woods of the indiscoverable. But where, but why, but cause, then fly, guise, rise, open the eyes of the lost, ignore what's disguised, break out and rush through, alleviate by sight and touch the smile of winter, understanding the night, sly, awake, visible, offering protection to all who become it, cross over, fall back, fade into, snowflakes covering the consequences of laboring love, seeing her, feeling her, extend into the lost exit of self. A casual offender, harbinger of right, clouded throughout, ruffled in sight of what's between obvious and what overshadows collide, stagnate, warp and wonder, wavering what's inside towards something less viable, but certainly worth the effort nobody else would offer. On to the next, into, infest, suicidal encryption exposing what test, weakness turned solid, overrunning doubt, remorse, regret, baseless, all judgments thrown out. Attack in its sight what expands on fear, continuing through paranoia, non-existent catalyst unnerving what's near, or far and away but close enough to cling, into the back of a mind fighting to find a reason to escape, into the unknown, far beyond what is visible, what's asked not to be had in order to kept docile, confined in a lab, undertoned with enforcement and sink in coercion, under wraps and stay put through all means of subversion. Free fire, free wheel, free ride to a test. Beat often with possible mistakes looming over to collide and intertwine. Stagnate with forethoughts of afterthoughts alive. Bending within to, blocking evil away from a future come possible where anything worth wrecking is pursued with purpose. Allowing an open-ended exit into something beyond that which is felt if not seen. Unwind, become numb, fall stagnant and relax. Take off the burden laid straight by a truth to protect. A way out for lost causes. A sight through all this despair. Unending, unopened, unthink to prepare. Good comes knowing, bad comes with fun. And smiles and promises to wit. To protect what they keep. Offering false love through the feet. Magnets of sin disguised through what they win. Obeying that which does not argue. They spread and divide, uncaring, controlling, knowing how, when survives. To mind, to matter. To prove through mended fences. Around what's wasted to protect what's defenseless. Uneven, unbalanced, struck within lost pathways, open, never closed, often absurd, revered when exposed, allowing an existence outside the herd. Expand and contract, sway with time's waves, innocent, unexpected, stamina to survive, floating, writhing, shaking, despising, knowing while growing and yearning to thrive. Why subjects how to overrule and override. Peace through civility, live better and take on the ride. Valor, honor, hope, owing alive, shoots and ladders, surrendering and escape. The struggling sensations of a notion unmoved, no way out to wonder or expand. Stuck in the doubts, unseen doubts of what, of where, of when, of how to bottom out, to collide and collect. Thoughts that neglect which cannot be done or conquered or won. Moving into scattered thoughts and dreams recalled, enemies mistook what calls from the heart, a way to deport or defeat or derail, a ceaseless attempt at dormancy, to seize, crush, then betray, all intuitions birthing static intrusions into savagery, demons into the open hide a normal face in the night, the brilliant disguise abiding what's right, and offering pure comfort for pain and delight. They're easy to find, they're easy to kill, when headhunting devils just swallow the pill, down broken hope's doorways and long gone lost dreams of forever. Confront them with truth and they'll back off and quiver. A promise lost within a dream, forgotten, buried beneath the waves of ever-forward's grip, unperceived notions of what is to be lamented, expected, and carried over and listened through, burning the bridges and leading the crosses of sacrifice to be carried by those who have already suffered. Reason told to wait, lies promised to deceive what awaits, foreboding mystery, impossible escapes, oppressing, scavenging, building off the despair of the wounded, blocking escapes, limiting access to exits and the entrances of the places to heal. The weight of forever neither stops nor even slows down. Aligned intentions obscuring the rules. The wounded's purse must be won at all costs, unsung. For brevity and bravery will suffer no fools. What can believe, what to reverse and categorize and escape while wallowing through judgments of lost prophets, unintelligible caustic celebrations. Reasons to scatter, calming surrender, perseverance through the illusions of guilt and greed, and the superficial guarantee that what is just should be expected. Over-relying and under-excusing, dampening of character across illusions, an attitude to become positive, a reason to beautify filth, a full admission to honesty to vilify what deserves the change it is seeking to enforce over others. Vanquish despair through finding a reason to declare righteousness and celebrate for what could become great, what could become grand, what could become plausible, what should invoke a sustainable season of upliftable peace. Vanquish all doubts and regrets and disease of complacency, ushering in long overdue challenges towards the abatement of credibility, twisting through time, needing an overture of sorts, a desperately needed beacon of light to illuminate the distrustful mist encapsulating each and every horizon that all hope and variations of realistic possibilities become ensnared within, undoing the changes and challenges and choices from the only entrance leading to the only exit out of the mystique, this eternally glowing, strikingly dormant, eerily darkened, self-created prison within a cave, within a mind ensnared by its own questions, of its own circles, of its own belongings, dug up and spat out, of used endings and questions to revile, to love, to sequester and reinvigorate the changes and challenges and choices to become one, within, without the mistakes of the false intention past, to hit between the eyes, with anything and everything under the sun, behind the wall, within the escarpments of a brazen new mind, dedicated to its new way around everything it took so patiently for granted. To strike out, to wander below, to lose within the channels of opaque obscurity, needing then wanting the reasons to come alive, awaken, fall forward, up, out onto the offerings of the light of day, bleeding, hemorrhaging, overriding then extinguishing all pollutant ideals before they become manageable. Outside the walls, outside the winds of the unknown, into the grasp of all that beholds, a safe haven in the storm of all that clinches, survival at the behest of what is meant to be, climbing beyond and clinging through all that is but a memory, starving in defeat, alive but usurped, unable to negotiate the pieces and fragments underfoot, leaving the options, leaving them, abort, fail, retry, while owing what a sacrifice to the mortal fixation of what is around every blind corner. Decisions to make, decisions to wake up, to apply, follow through, fall next to, on top of, surround with the cord strings of the lazy way out, an abandoned afterthought amid life's collusion, which sacrifices to all that is able to be led astray and then wasted. Balance and walk, try to forget and fixate, try to replace all the missed calls and attempts at common frailty, run and balance, pulsate in a nerve, remember to offer, then act, then embrace, the calls from within for exceptional obedience to a realistic, worthwhile chance. Balance, beckoning to pardon, to fall back and strengthen, to guide through the guise of guilt-ridden love run aground by all that came before it, ensnaring and gouging thickly layered protests against the heresies of coming up against that which is not understood, to offer reprieve against the frustrated compounding of not only knowing how to enact what is capable, but also of what is intrinsically believable. Topple the fear, the regression, the opulent sensations of all it distracts and deconstructs purpose, disguised as anything and everything other than what should be disobeyed. Witness the creation, the salvation, and incarnate knowledge of what is manageable, enough to birth comfort, applying genuine, tangible rationalization to all who comes before the altar of salvation, hurt, lost, wounded in dire straits, and denial, carrying a cross of burdens, self-inflicted conflicts, days broken alone, desolate, betrayed, or forgotten. Rebuilds and collapse, total despair, indigent of all hope, repairable, in season or out, on top of neglect, correctable to accept a way over and out, back to the side of normal, desolate enough to be, real as all that burns from within, in search of what is to see and do off the wrong foot, but intelligible enough to stand on a foundation of sense. Open it up, then leave it alone. Kick it, cut off that phone. Leave it alone, set it on fire, get off uninspired, relax, experiment, try something new, spin off a magnet and into a new clue. Unbury from the sand, open up loud, and fuck them if they hate you, spit it out loud, make a new enemy, find some new friends, kick down the doors and hop off the fence, put up to keep you caged in a pasture, to waste away alone, to live in disaster. There's a spirit within you, it unlocks all the doors, it explores and offers up reasons and opportunities to move, sneak out, own up and disprove all that you're thinking you just can't become, of all you've been stuck through, denying you're numb, in a world caught stagnant, doing the same old thing. So finish what you start and burn out to bring. All you can offer, all you can think, all you can revel as you will miss if you blink. Escape it alone in a situation controlled by what you think you can see, by what might surround you deep in despair, yet somehow found to concede to what stuns you, what caught you, what fried you to think. Catch, listen up faster, you'll miss if you'll blink. Own up, pass down, ride on to reap what you sow, pay what you owe, think across, into the night, the abyss, fuck the unknown, shove off to grow, go down to know, escape, extract, and act with tact, push through the demons, bust off the herd, let the fucker stumble, fall on it forward, ever forward, pick off the past, convert it to cash, last beyond what is expected, neglect the almost architect, finish off right, be the engineer, the geometrical wordsmith, the exceptional wordsmith, the fire escape they never knew was there, blind the lost causes, reopen their eyes, show them how to despise, hate and fear, punks and luck fucking money, too many wrongly built lies choking beyond the clouded up skies. Thirsting for knowledge, yearning through sweat, knowing to want, to take, to need, to own, never give up or lay off or leave vacant, or exposed, unwanted or unused, or misplaced under within the concepts, forgotten, misused, misunderstood, kept silent, imprisoned by what becomes of greed, gluttony, fixating pride on stupidity and the terror of thinking abnormal is insane. Unraveling, unwinding, reveling in the depths of deceit, in defeat, blindfolded and trivialized to the point of secreting notions of frozen, unusable distortions of what may or may not be relevant, a scapegoat, an aimless perception of what is seen through, thought out in a sense less malleable but equally permeable to face lost doorways within open-ended plot twists on top of less relevant schemes, equally involved with the final outcomes of the natural ending that can only come by beating yourself enough times to finally learn how to win. Stringing along and contemplating if, wondering how but misjudging why, opening awake to dispatch alive, sands of summer, winds of winter passages, within tunnels, unlocking exits to openings to ways around the same cycles to start, regardless of what is too late, or what has passed me by, or what cannot become, or what will not come back, and knowing to grow and take and contemplate, then unwrap, unravel, and ingest all that has fallen, all that begets evil, to chew it up and spit it out as a porpoise rejects a poisoned fish, allowing what calls me back, to keep me holding on to what I do not know, because why I cannot say, but on is where I go, because here I cannot stay. And this is part 3, Ashtabula, Ohio. The dirty angel of the day's night, the insect that seeps within the shadows, appears the lost, wasted, tainted, chemical-ridden, rotten soul, taking, seemingly prevailing and escaping from all he would logically be held accountable for, should the caller of justice rightly find his neck, scouring about, rummaging through, then taking what is perceived to be owed, clouded circumstances, surrounding escaping righteous judgments as well as rational thoughts, always at the unpromised edge of what should never be satisfied. But the wonders that persist appear to exist, past, present, presumable future, clouding minds are offering hope, escaping judgment, or proving great minds do not think alike, shooting blindly, missing sparingly, trying admirably, never afraid to scatter or wander or annihilate through whatever it is that is offered up next. Inspired by Chris Herron. Falling off to return in sweat, allowing an approach to materialize or a scenario to offer up insights into serendipitous acquiescence, waiting and waiting, walking alone, occasionally turning back, never pretending there is something as consequential as a reason for blame for totality of loss, of alleviation through thought, hanging on and holding on and wondering if or how, not knowing to keep why at bay, as materialization rarely knows or cares to offer up rationalization alive, continues empowered but constantly drained at the prospect of doing it all over again, knowing the inevitable is returning with the intrinsic foresight to present the same last equations with differing sufferable results, seeing through what you thought you blew away, what you said would sway and bounce and thrive and open up the sky and turn back the tide against itself. Within the rules, the hearts would melt and offer up new ways out of the box, and into the night and up to the top and away from all of this misfortune and pain and greed and shame and lies and fights and blind obedience to what you are told should be sane. Kick it all out, throw it all on the ropes, push away the fear and spend your time on hope, a mishmash of desire and lost impossible trust and warped opinions gone wrong, thinking they're singing the same old song without truth, conjecture, or rational thought, just the same dumb animals blaming the pot. I'm gonna. Fuck your reasons, fuck your right, fuck you right in the face what you think you know of me, you're all already dead anyway, so fuck off, shut the fuck up, stay the fuck out of my way, what the fuck you think you already knew blew up in your face anyways, you fucking faggots, thinking you know every goddamn outcome to every goddamn scenario behind every goddamn story you think you control, where the fuck do you think you get off, thinking you fucking own me, you goddamn deadweight fucking trolls from a lost time, stuck so far back in the Stone Ages, you should be crucified just like the fucking criminals you were so certain they all were. You rat fuck faggot, peel it back and wonder whether it's even worth looking at. The life that breathes, offers, runs, and intentionally ruins, regardless of what is obedient, or sacrificed, or fought through, or traveled right, or played well, lifted up, or carried along, or stood for as upper Midwestern winter winds pierced the lives with 1,000 guilty daggers. The heart and mind of everything and anything, the hope of a trust, wondering what yesterday meant and what tomorrow could be, clung on to the promise that what is seen should be believed, instead of some falsified rat trap designed to exterminate anything and everything. Its dormant, one-way, dead link to the past imagination could not accept it was a part of. Boredom, escaping within me. What to do, what to say, where to go, what good does it do to pray when the only answers received are violent, out-of-place underreactions to everything I'm not doing wrong, abashedly misunderstood, trying and knowing perfectly designed and obscurely hidden lies within reasons of something that never had reasons, lie in wait at all crossroads and corners, severance through passion, pain endured, enough to no longer give two shits where the fuck or what now come next, as the frozen 2 lanes of a salt-covered, wreck-strewn highway await while the sun makes its rise into a new day, claiming to offer the hope of a promise of something unseen. Insanity, come and get me, overrun me, catch up if you can, open a new doorway, gouge a new tunnel, reveal the same monotonous nothingness that has always been, offer up nothing new, no new way around the same dead-end locked doorways that have always been presented, out of some badly misguided fear, allowing anyone outside your simplified inbred circles of degenerates to succeed, too afraid of the shadow that confronts you to produce anything but fear, dripping it out before, behind, in front, on all sides, the same stagnant, stupefying thoughts consuming you, allowing you only the time of day, and an excuse to laugh at all who are not one within your pathetic design, fail and fall, as does the light of each and every day. Regretting deception, wanting only what's more, a way out of this somewhere, beyond the same static sunrises and repetitive sunsets of wallowing, coagulating dormancy, knowing the lies surrounding me are too arrogant to change, too simple to bother with. The sky up above is too clear for this day. Not a cloud to be found. Not a cloud to be found. The air is icy as a wave of terrifying needlepoints. The wind is sharp it has always been. Boredom, drained nearly entirely, wanting no more of this entirely asphyxiating failures that lure me back with a different variation of the same promise that never comes true. Leading down the drain and into this perfectly blue, crisply affinitive day, suspecting a chance is more than what I could use, but keeping my spirits low, as I know at the end of this day, when Lake Michigan snow usurp the blue sky and whiten the already salted blacktop, things will be exactly the same as they have always been. For me, for you, for us, for them, entwining us in this winter of discontent until a promise finally kept or a shred of love to actually exist, knowing that just such a notion is just too obtrusive to place any amount of faith into, if only because of what has always been, stupidity surrounded by lies, on top of which is falsely accused, wrapped in a terminal box of the sort of cancer that eats away every nightmare I ever wake up from, not caring that I've just witnessed the insults and slanderous bullshit, blasphemous garbage the God I know exists just can't seem to flush out, as it allows me to slip by again and again and again to ancient, outdated, step off anything including the wrong foot, hurling senseless accusations and delirious notions of what she doesn't know and can't see, lost in her inert fallacy as I just keep going, knowing the solutions I seek come from anywhere but within. This time, and I try to seek the winds of change of the great northern nothingness, knowing all this nothing is somehow better than the empty, lying, foreboding something I left so far behind. Part 4, South Bend, Indiana. In a carriage of self-rottenness, absorbed by it entirely, either unaware or unawake, moving but swaying, rising while falling, somehow only to rise, fall, and crash, burn up and end in the same damn madness I swore I'd never try to project again. Acceptance is key, to ignore, to rebuff, to set a goal, to despise against, regardless of what falls or wavers, or what has come up against, deliberately eschewing my way, I fall flat again for some reason. I fall flat again, on time and in line, owing what is next to what has already happened as I search seemingly against myself, but at the behest of myself, as I know the screams are heard, even if they are ignored, through glass, through the day, and into the night, laid out before me as if there is some sort of sense to be made out of the chaotic wavelengths I seem to be pulsating through. Shatter it back and roll it astray, breathe in new life, move in a better way, squeamishly squirming, swirling towards the light of day, knowing the next knockoff is just out of sight, coming and running and blasting out of wherever it comes from, demanding surrender but not saying how, guaranteeing destruction but not saying why. So trust in my head, put it out of my mind. All that is a grudge, all that boggles the unwind, the escapes, the hopes of what it means to actually matter. Born off lies, born into hate, conceived out of lust and taught us how to wait. No reasons, no rhymes, no answers, just no. Use your illusions and play the delusions and deny the intrusions before they lay your heart to waste. Let rust offer in, accept the mountain of unmovable sin. Manage it, balance it, waste it away. Force it, fumble it, bend it to your will. Follow it, fix it, change it to your sway. Match it and mark it and let it fade away. Borrowed time of sorts, wasting time in ports, absorbing, maneuvering, noticing surroundings of the same thickened plot I seem not to have left behind. A high wire rises again. Will it stay this time is all that can tell, but tell it will not, so I must borrow it to find out on my own. What I find out is I am a greed-driven glutton, a fool, though I know this not to be the case. I press on to learn my vanity and lust should steer me in no other direction other than suicide, and an immediate one at that. So the time I borrow I return, and do not request back, and contemplate the guilt I would not be feeling had I just left it alone and fell in line with all the rest of them, rising, working, eating, shaving, fucking, breathing, playing, owing, trying, chasing, fading, aging, dying, with the hopes and dreams that the brutal reality of borrowed time never fails to leave behind. Cold and smitten, the ferocity of the night seems as wasted as the day spent twirling in agony against everything I've been sweating with, struggling towards, staggering beneath, or stumbling to. Try to keep up, knowing it cannot be caught or rationalized or reasoned with, clinging to the mortal questions of all this has led me to a grave. Will this ever end? Does there need to be a logical answer to my unwavering trust? Is my unwavering trust going to be led astray, burnt to the ground, and betrayed all over again? How many mistakes do I have to own up to for the forgiveness of crimes I was never even aware I was committing, continuing to spiral downward, eking within an existence against what makes sense in the face of what I am told should be done, pursued, reveled in, utilized, starting backwards, looking forwards, remaining trapped, sinking darker and deeper into the same quicksand that is always offered up as an answer to my prayers, beckoning for a new chance at a better path, with choices that do not end up at the dead end, lost, defeated, humiliated end, a criminal guilty of speaking about what he believed, existing within the lost segments of the misguided world he was only seeking to better. Hold me or let me, watch me and trust me. I do not need to let go of you, you need to let go of me. Free me of these chains, these burdens, these endless suffering days. As a despondent, ever-fading nights, a reward, a fantasy, an experiment in the method of fight or flight, fold or flourish, love or hate, go or wait, sleep or wake, skip or skate, hush or debate, talk actively to challenge, educate, expand, often, open, offer or redirect, aimlessness, keeping away from the hate, the pranks, the highs of debauchery, the flames of instant lust, of all that is easiest, of all that is trivial, of all that is dishonest. By way of saying that it is just business, it is just how it goes, eat the wounded, weed out the weaklings, in the same tyrannical, nonsensical fashion that has been causing the wicked wayfarers of long outdated road to prosper, bringing with them the ignorant rats who'd stab their own mother for a glimpse into the wicked wayfarers' game, thinking acceptance by collusion is not only righteous and worthwhile, but sadly also worthy of teaching their goddamn children to follow. So when I ask, do not consider, ponder not why, act as this is who I am fighting against. When I speak, listen, then follow, and stop trying to see beneath the surface to my motives, to my intent, because if this heart is not perfectly clear by now, beyond any and all assumptions of guilt, above reproach of every aspect of every wedge of reasonable doubt, without tests or trials or trivial sideways questions, with unnecessary answers, then it never will be. So leave me to my mistakes, and understand my cause is not lost, my grave not dug, my heart not shallow, my dreams not self-righteous, indulgence, my mind not fickle, out of touch or out of place, but open, honest, relevant, active, awake, alive, and senses so far from criminal or evil or holier than thou that I know enough not to stop, to give up in or out any of the paradoxes that have already been wounded beyond repair. They need me a whole hell of a lot more than I need them, so allot the borrowed time to this web-weaving, broken, betrayed, shattered, alienated, distrusted, wrongfully punished, mistakenly overlooked, lost, long-lost possible prisoner of the highways to this impossible mixed-up world, as I have come too far not to have a chance to become the friend, teacher, student, mentor, lover, giver, taker, owner, messenger, angel of fight, night, in righteous respite. You had wrongfully doubted, allowing yourself too many misgivings. He was not strong, brave, tolerant, relentless, and honorable enough to become exactly what he was saying he would become. The challenges to the dreams I've laid arrive and arouse materialization of seemingly self-destructive consequences, as if the path I have opened has already been attacked, only to be abandoned before the ones that have preceded me in a similar fashion, to the distantly calling frailty of a destined to be love that has fallen along the wayside, to the deaf ears that do not believe in themselves enough to acknowledge that what she was hearing was legitimate enough to confirm for her eyes that all of it was real, all of it, but instead convicted normalcy hacked in and allowed an asphyxiating grip on what is within the socially designed construct of what it is and only should be considered appropriate by the unwritten laws of acceptability, never allowing the possibility to be entertained that what is behind the curtain of what she is told she should be doing actually does exist, superseding sanity's normalcy with an altruistic passion that allows the opening of all dead ends, possessing all the keys to her own kingdoms and beyond, overriding the fear she is demanded to be experiencing by the hierarchy of who know what is best, as a forthright shot into the night depicting the forbidden definition of the stars, lost to all who have acquiesced to what is attainable and what is described by so many as the real world, driving beyond the obeyable clauses of the way things should be, with an atomically constructive romanticism unapproachable by anyone other than the unchosen, free-choosing few who hold, who wait, who respect, honor, treasure, and uphold what is right, what is worth fighting for and worthy of forever by eternally denying that which cannot be conquered, that which seeks to prove the notions of it is too late, it cannot be done, it has already passed you by, it was never meant to be, you tried too hard, took too much, and waited too long, with a furious rejection and insulting slight, with an absolutely crushing and thunderous surrender that could light up the night 1,000 miles away into a faith captures, accelerates, then launches into certainty the honest, deliberate, and worthwhile few above and spectacularly beyond, all of those in positions of privilege who never knew they could so easily be surpassed, revealing within the perfect hour that from now on everything she hears, feels, touches, wonders, wishes, wants, and could ever earnestly believe is now not only possible but actually going to come out of the forbidden, elusive fantasy she was told to let die on so many occasions to become real before her very eyes in a way that outjumps too good to be true by the depths of a thriving perfect sanity, multiplied by the imperfect, immeasurable infinity of what it is to be loved. Yeah. Part 5, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Seeking the sort of peace and normalcy that can only come at the end of a balanced day. Screaming internally for it, demanding it, knowing the consequences I arrive at are solely my own achievement, boredom that awaits, jaggedly crazes, marching through time towards the stable yet insatiable appetites of a better day. I change my ways to break the chains, wrapped around myself the hardened days that have passed me by alone and enslaved but endured. The Arctic reaches down its icy arm to offer up a chance at deliverance. Through the snows of 2 feet and wind chills of 50 below, distrust of fears past will be emaciated beyond recognition, based purely on the will to press north into the madness of the polar vortexes, crashing, rushing, unleashing of itself south, knowing a trust like this can and will carry itself farther than anything that can be found on the shores of the Caribbean. Sounding off, I reach for the peace of night in the crazed madness of an upper Midwestern blizzard. Cherished, honored, trusted, loved. This is what we all seek to be, and this is what we should all seek to be, and give and spread out and open up and offer to others. The laws of life, the laws of right, of up, of down, of good, of light, into sight, above and beyond, into gracious curiosity and peaceful surrender. The salvation of love in the places it could send her, disparaging no one except those who choose it all downward. But I've come up to wonder, to explore, to wish it all away, not passively waste away with an attitude in the gutter and a mind hell-bent on the sacrifices that I'm willing to make. The hard way around this is to keep holding on. Keep holding on to what can never be controlled, so I make up an offer and find a new excuse how to put down my demons and release this old noose, kept on by begging, boredom, and shame, writhing but trying yet hiding from the pain, double-guessing myself, wrecking myself, so to open up new paths, it's time to collect, inspect, and correct myself deep down in my mind, play it all back because I know I got the time. Mistakes are to keep and relive and learn from, not relive and drown in the consequences which cannot be undone. So to watch, I'll wait. To gain, I'll bait. To wrap my head around this entire disaster, allowing the execution of my own plans to grow, materialize, and prosper, instead of the sundry rushes into the same old nothing I've always driven straight into the wall of. A perfect day awaits. Within it allow for some sort of atomic stability that possesses the indescribable passion to keep me hanging on. To keep me hanging on. You keep me hanging on. The End by Justin G. Page. And that is the end of this unearthed book. The last 20 or so pages of it is all this poem with all sorts of pictures and whatnot in it. And then at the very end of it, I have the weather report from this Midwestern trip across the country. From Seneca Falls, New York, Ashtabula, Ohio, South Bend, Indiana, when there were 50 below wind chills and over 2 feet of snow on one occasion, 18 inches of snow on another. And yeah, I just thought I would read that. I thought it would be neat. And I guess the 6 times the charm on it. So that's about it. And back to another beautiful snowy day.